What up, everybody? Your old buddy Josh. We got Kevin Hawthorne in the house. Pulverizer's already whining. It took forever to get the chat panel to load. I just put it on there deliberately so you couldn't load it there, Pulvy. I call you Pulvy. You like to go by the name Pulvy. Let's say the 25th? So Halloween is next Friday, and Pulverizer's already got his mask on. He's got his mask. He's called his ugly mask. Oh, right. He can't take it off. Oh, man. I'm going to get banned. I'm going to get banned by YouTube for saying mean things. Probably shouldn't say more than that because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. Anyway, sorry we weren't here last week. We went to Tennessee. We saw the Titans play the Pats. So we drove up there. It's great being me. What state you live in again, Pulvy? What state? So we drove up to Nashville to see the Titans play. And it was a blast, man. Drake may look good. The Titans really don't look good. And it sucks. I love Cam Ward. Stan Spear in the house. What up, Stan Spear? Chuck B. What's up, Stan? He's got a suit and tie on there. Stan Spear's a suit and tie kind of guy. State of euphoria. The state of confusion is more like it. Right on, homie. State of euphoria. I call it the state of panic. Pulverizer's like, the Israelis are out to get me. They're under my bed right now. Benjamin Netanyahu, he's under my bed right now. He's going to get me. He's out to get me. The Israeli first crew on both sides, the anti-Israel, Israeli first right-wingers drive me as crazy as the Christian Zionists. They both drive me insane. Like, Israel, about everything is about Israel. I'm like, ugh, dude, enough. I just can't take it. I just don't care. I'm not saying Pulverizer like that, but there are people on the right who literally snows in July. Israel did it. I'm like, oh, my goodness. And then, of course, the Christian Zionist, we've got to bless Israel because that's what God told us to do. It's like, I don't think so, but okay. Anyway, so we went to Nashville, saw the Titans play. It was fun, man. We had a good time. We stayed a night up there last week. At Cam Ward, he just not quite the butt fumble of Mark Sanchez, but we got Jason on Facebook, Jason Kelmel, right on Jason Kelmel on Facebook. We don't get a lot of Facebook viewers on this. So just remember, we're on Twitter. We're on the two YouTube channels. The Josh Scanlon YouTube channel is, if you're on there, that's fine. I appreciate you being on there. Absolutely. But you might want to jump on over to the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel because that's where most people are. And we got a couple people on Facebook. Appreciate that. So if you're on the YouTube Josh Scanlon channel and you don't see any comments and stuff like that, they're mostly on this channel, the Heritage Wealth Planning. And then, we got a number of people on Twitter. Am I on? It doesn't look like I'm on LinkedIn. Why am I not on LinkedIn? Yeah, I'm supposed to be on LinkedIn. I should double check that. That's weird. Nashville's fun to visit, not to live in. I like Nashville. I know it's liberal and all that, but I mean, any city's can be liberal. I know. Let me just double check my LinkedIn feed here. Fundle the like button. Exactly. Fundle it or fondle it. Let's see here. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure that. And of course, Alabama just scored. I had an 80-yard drive. Got the 2-point conversion to tie up the game. So you know they're going to win. I guarantee you heard it here first. Alabama will beat the Gamecocks. Well, how the hell do you find yours? How do you find it if you're even on? I don't even know how to do this on. Oh, there it is. No, there it is. Yeah, I have it on now. I am live on LinkedIn. All right. Well, it doesn't really. Interesting. I guess people on LinkedIn aren't. They don't jump on LinkedIn on the weekend. I imagine LinkedIn is more for the weekdays. Oh, man, hey, right on, man. Fredericksburg, Virginia in the house. We got Dark Horse Productions. I've been struggling lately in layers. Hope to get through it all this next week. Yikes. Fredericksburg, Virginia in the house. Sam Wallace, right on, Sam. Yeah, welcome aboard to from YouTube. Not YouTube, to the live stream. Fredericksburg, Virginia. And right on, man. Evening from Maine cabin. Right on. Look at Marie. Marie, did you bust my balls the other day on one of my videos? It said mitts. And I was like, is that Marie? Ooh. Look what I got. My Blue Jay shirt. It's hard for me to go to a Canadian team, by the way. I'm not going to lie. It's tough. I just love that. So I just love that right there. That is the freaking. You got a baseball back there. You got the Canadian maple leaf. You got that blue jay. I love it. Definitely buy a hex bar with handles. It is the shit for real. Says a hex bar with handles. I don't even know what a hex bar with handles is. Yeah, but did you bust my balls? And sometimes Josh makes me fall asleep or something like that. I say, Marie, what are you doing? Even you? Because I got some guys passive aggressive. He says stuff like that all the time, like whatever. But I was like, even Marie's busting my balls. I can't root against Otani. Yeah, well, I know you can because you Asians stay together. I get it, man. I thought Asians, Koreans, Chinese, and Japanese people didn't like each other. Apparently, the Asians, they all stick together when they have to. I get it. I actually like Otani. But what do you think about the gambling stuff? Do you think the Otani got off because he's a superstar relative to what's going on in the NBA? So I just listened to what's the guy's name? What happened here? Who was it? It was Coach JB interviewed Tim Donaghy. And he said basically there's so much stuff in gambling, it's like all sports in terms of just as corrupt as all can be. Now, this guy went to jail, I think, for NBA gambling, but he says as corrupt as all can be. He says it's going to take down everybody. I don't know if I believe that, but it's just pretty interesting. He said Michael Jordan went to baseball because they had him dead to rights. The FBI did for gambling and basketball. I don't know that to be true too, but I said that's an interesting theory that Michael Jordan in the middle of his prime would just leave and go to baseball. And then he came back. Otani too pure for that. Plus, he makes so much money that makes no sense. Yeah, I kind of agree with that, actually. You really, Marie says, you're talking music or baseball. I think I might have jokingly said, all good, though. I don't think I was talking music or baseball. I think I was talking Pennsylvania stuff, Marie. Apparently, you don't care. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. George's dad did get murdered. Yeah. Ooh, I didn't think about that. Interesting. And it would be crazy when you think about it. I mean, the idea is just this guy from the Miami Heat or something like that. And then Chauncey Billups. And some guy had posted a video like from 2 years ago. He said, this is a professional poker player. He said, we all knew Chauncey was thieving, was a cheat. And the whole thing is crazy. I'd love to see if I'd love to see it go down. I'd love to see professional sports go down 100%. I hate them. I mean, I like them, but I hate them. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember. Well, I agree, Marie. You don't remember because you're getting old. Art Schlichter. Yeah, remember him? Yeah, for the Colts. Nothing new. Nothing new. But now that they're advertising like crazy, I mean, they're making Jason Whitlock said, someone said on Whitlock's channel that University of California, San Diego did a study of 700,000 online bettors. And only 4% actually make money. Only 4% make money. Isn't that crazy? Like 700,000 online gamblers. Only 4% make money. Crazy. Amazing how they're calling out corruption in sports. What about the casino that's gambling and full of corruption? Is it because different demographics why that's not illegal? I don't understand. I mean, about the casinos gambling, I don't understand. So are you implying that because the NBA is black, they're going after the NBA, but they're not going after casinos? I don't get it. I don't. I love Whitlock, man. I don't even know what a parlay is. And that's the thing. 96, I don't even know what that is. Gilbert Arenas got caught in a poker ring like a month. Oh, so is he still on, like, I think, wasn't he still on some podcast? He was making, it's crazy, man. Yeah, it's true. They're gambling on, don't even need to gamble on sports. Look at these degenerate gambling on Beyond Meat. Yeah. Solar panels, all that stuff. I completely agree. I remember Art Schlichter. I remember him. Ohio State, Colts. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's funny, man. But I mean, just sitting there. So we just got done watching that video with a movie with Adam Sandler, Uncut Gems. Not a great movie, but I mean, stock market is see, I disagree with that. I think there are some, like this guy said, my man says Beyond Meat, but I mean, Beyond Meat has to go through in terms of the SEC regulation, all this stuff to go public. I mean, it's a regulatory environment that says, hey, If you're willing to gamble on the profitability of Beyond Meat, be my guest. But the stock market as a whole, the S&P 500, isn't a gambling entity. It's not speculation. It's investment. I mean, you're literally investing. You're investing in companies that actually make money, and they're handing money back in terms of shareholder value, buyback, dividends, buyback shares. They're employing people. You actually buy products. Gambling is pure speculation. That's all it is. In fact, gambling, you're betting against the bank, and the bank wins. And so, as such, investment, we all win if you just stay the course. Essentially, there's stocks that go down, but if you just buy the index, which is what we should do, it's a winning game. Gambling inherently is a losing game. There's just no two ways around that. So I don't like when, I'm not mad at you, but I just don't like when people say the stock market is gambling. It's not a casino. Far from it. These are earnings that companies make that employ people, that create things, products that we buy. I think food's got to be the worst addiction, because you have to eat. Anyway, the movie by Adam Sandler is about this Jewish guy who's in New York City who runs like his jewelry place, and he gets this opal from Ethiopia or something like that, and he's like trying to sell it to Kevin Garnett or something. And the guy's just got a sick. He has to gamble. It's crazy. It's just sad, man. He's like, I've got to gamble, and it's sad. No other way around it. It's like the best anti-gambling show you could. It's not a great movie. I was like, this is kind of stupid, but in terms of gambling, it's like, dude. I mean, he just shows you like how decrepit it is and who you're running with and everything. It's crazy. I can gamble. I bet you can gamble. Gamble. I mean, you're not going to get rid of gambling. I mean, gambling is like prostitution, man. It's gone back to the dawn of mankind. People, men in particular, like to risk. It's a risk taker's thing. It's stupid. You shouldn't do it. And it is got to be the worst addiction. I just think food's got to be the worst addiction, because food, you need to eat. And yet every time you eat, you're kind of feeding your addiction where you want more. I think that's got to be the worst. Gambling made all of sports suspect. Most people bet Dodgers win game one, but of course it didn't. Bet it's not one of the games that they're playing. Yeah, or that guy from Rozier, tanking his game. I can't believe people actually bet over under. Like, I think Rozier is going to have 40 points, and and it's like, wow, it's just weird to me, man. Because if he, so it says, say the under is Rozier is going to have 40 points, and people say I don't think he's going to have 40 points, and then the bookie said we'll give you $200,000 to take 38 points, but not 40. Yeah, is crazy. Betting on this one shot going exactly. Beyond Meat is awful for you. Don't do that. What's I have no idea, no clue. I don't know, Sam. I haven't really been paying much attention to it, to be perfectly honest with you. Hasn't affected me, and I know that some people are affected by it. It sucks, but I just hope this Republicans staying true. Say we're not going to give welfare to legal immigrants. We're not going to do it. And if they lose if the Democrats are able to convince everybody, as they try, the Republicans are standing in the way of Obamacare subsidies, at some point you're just gonna have to lose, man. At some point you're gonna have to try to win, try to lose. At some point you just got to risk it all and say, we're not going to allow illegal immigrants to get welfare, health care. We're just not going to do it. And if that means we're gonna have to stand up for our principles, at some point you got to do it. And if the Democrats are able to convince idiots that Republicans are getting in the way of their health care, then you got to run with that. But that's the problem, is that Republicans have been for so many years, so worried about the media, how they're going to show the Republicans are shutting him down. And I just don't think Trump is of that mode to follow that. And as such, I don't think he's going to cave. And I think at some point it's going to have to be the Democrats, unless the Republicans are able to somehow convince Trump to cave, like they were able to convince Nixon to walk away. Howard, what's the guy from Tennessee? Howard Phillips or something like that, who convinced Nixon that we don't have the votes to sustain you. I mean, let's see. Beyond Meat's credit, they did use much healthier avocado oil. Funds pumped the stock, and those piling in the meme stock got made into bag holders. Well, I don't think these people are addicted to salads. I think they're addicted to just food, junk food as a whole. Probably lots of potato chips and all that, but you still got to eat. I just feel bad for those people. Food addiction is a hard thing to stop. You still have to eat. You just have to learn to eat better. Look at all the college games today, how many food commercials. Man, it's crazy. We're so 100%. Oh yeah, I definitely think there's gonna be another rate cut coming. 100%. is polymarket gambling. I don't even know what that is. Life is but a gamble. Oh my goodness, that is profound, Jeff. You're so profound. That man, I tell you what, Jeff, profundity, your middle name. Yeah, chasing high. That's what it is. We're just talking about it with my wife. It's like, it's not about the win. I think it's just about the anticipation. You know what I'm saying? It's like you used to say, like porn addiction, like when you have to log on to the old dial-up, you know what I'm saying? Like the guys would just get so stimulated when they hear the like it'd be like, oh man, it's red. You see what I'm saying? I can't remember. I was reading something along those lines, 20 years ago. When you hear the dial-up, they said that means I'm getting ready to get in my porn. For dial-up porn. It's just like that. The sound would generate stimulation. I think it's the same thing with gambling. I think it's just like being part of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm just part of this process of wonder. Not even I think the win is still a letdown. I mean, it sucks. I mean, it's great, I guess, but I think the win is still a letdown relative to the intensity. Again, I don't have that. And the only time I gambled on anything, I put $80 on Virginia to beat Kansas in the NC Elite 8 in 1994 or something like that. And I lost my $80. I was so friggin' pissed. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Because I was so mad. I said, man, I worked, that's, I don't know, 2 shifts, 1 shift or something like that. I worked all night in a bar for that $80. And I just like that. It was gone. Awesome teenage basketball players. I was so mad. And yet if I would have won, I would have thought I was king of the world. You know what I'm saying? And you're always going to lose. Let's see. Shutdown likely to last until November when AC enrollment starts. You see another illegal immigrant from whatever. That's freaking crazy, man. It just killing me. All right. MicroStrategy has taken a bath too. Really? I thought with Bitcoin way up. I haven't really paid much mind to it, but MicroStrategy. I think Bitcoin is a gamble, 100%. I do not believe that Bitcoin. I mean, people make money on it. But you can make money on a bunch of things. Yeah, Bitcoin's back to 111. I think it's stupid, but I don't yell at people for making money on it. It doesn't bother me. I just don't get why people don't take gains. But so there's Bitcoin at 111,000 bucks. For the year to date, is what is it up still? Yeah, still up 18% year. Is it up 18? Yeah, I guess so. 18% year to date. That's not bad. I mean, I think it's stupid, but hey, whatever. You're a boomer, Scanlon. You don't understand. Okay. Let's see. Marie says EBT, and shortly there are lots of videos of pissed off women who say they're going to steal food and say, yeah, but who cares about those people? They're dumb. I already renewed my ACA yesterday, already available in California, says Christopher. I remember dial-up porn. Yes, you do, Pulverizer. You're still using it. I gambled on my wife and won, and exactly. But it's this zero-sum game. You gambled on your wife and won, and she gambled on you and lost. So that's a zero-sum game. So now that's unlike investing where we can both win. In this case, your wife is a loser. Just all there is to it. She even texted. She goes, if Don says anything positive about me, just remember he lost. I lost. Dude, 100%. I think that's completely. Look at Charlie Handball. Man, great question, Charlie. My Finn was running around backyard like he's done today. It was wonderful when I was, grilling some chicken. I said he was going back and forth. I said he's back, baby. Yeah, I think the worst thing is, dude, if I would have won that game, Fast Eddie, if Virginia would have won, I've been up $80. And man, that was easy money. I'm gonna do it again. Ugh. I know my addictive personality. That would not have been good. The house always wins, 100%. Josh is booming. You get. I'm harsh tonight. Why am I harsh? I don't get it. Why am I being harsh? She's a loser. She is. And by being a loser, because she could have had much better, if you know what I'm saying. We are hoping Winsome Earls, 100% can pull off the win against. I hope they're not going to let her win, though, man. They're not going to win. We can gamble if Josh will have a shirt on inside out or not, or if I got my underwear on. She's not going to win, dude. No way. They're not going to let her win. I mean, why do you even vote then, Josh? Because I like to vote. I like to hope that my guy wins Not that anything really is going to happen. Not that I expect him. Hey, right on, Charlie Handball, as well you should. You better hit the life button. What does Scott say? Well, okay, Penelope. Harsh. What am I being harsh? Who's I being harsh on? About Don's wife being a loser? That just means Don's wife is better than Don. Doesn't mean Don's wife's a loser. She just bet wrong. She bet on Don to win. She bet on Don. Don bet on her, and only one can win in that marriage, and it was Don. Which means his wife would have lost. Vote for Jack in New Jersey today. Right on, man. I think he's got a better chance I think he's got a better chance in New Jersey, believe it or not, than what's her name? Freaking Winsome. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they did let what's his name win, Glenn Youngkin. You know what I'm saying? And they did let Chris Christie and Chrissy Todd Whitman win in New Jersey a couple of times. So they have let some people win. This Spienberger is a CIA asset. She is, just like the chick who beat the in Michigan Senate race. Forgot her name. She's a CIA asset. And I mean, when the CIA has when they have assets, they're not going to lose. Look at him. Come on. Give me a hug. Let's see if you can show everybody. Come on. Uppy. I got something here. Come on. Up. I got it. Ooh, it tastes so. No. Come here. Yeah. So he's doing much better, thankfully. And it was worrisome for a while, but today's his last day of his steroids. So now we're going to have to see what happens. And Pablo and Finney slept together last night, which is so cute. They haven't slept together for a while. They slept like freaking champs. Yeah. All right. Love you, buddy. All right, just drive safely. Yeah. Want to say hi to everybody on YouTube? I'm good. All right, love you, man. Love you. Is Griffin here? Yeah. All right, drive safely. All right, just text us when you get back. All right. Cavin's going back to Auburn. Yes, can everybody give me a thumbs up? My favorite, exactly. So are you happy with the 2.8? Yeah, absolutely happy with 2.8, 100%. What's that? Okay, Cavin's going. That's Cavin. Liam's still here, unfortunately. Probably hungry enough to eat. Come on, give me a hug. Come on. There he is. Someone posted a video where they showed the saliva of a dog. And all the bacteria and stuff that's in there. And I like when Finney gives me kisses. It makes me happy. I heard Trump isn't going to win. Kamala is. Can't remember who said that. Yeah, I didn't think Trump would win. 100%, man. I 100%. They let him win, man. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know why or how. I think I do. Well, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I didn't think Trump was going to win at all. I said, man, if they could cheat 2020, why they can't cheat in 2024? And people are like, well, because they have better monitors. So like the monitors don't stop anything. I mean, hell, they put monitors in jail. I mean, you think just because if they want to win, they're going to win. It's just all there is to it. And as such, maybe Trump, I still think that one of the reasons they let Trump win is because they said the Green New Deal has gone too far. We cannot run an economy on solar and wind. This is insanity. And at some point, we're going to have to take it. We're going to have to slow this. We're going to have to transition back. We can't do it with the Democrats because they'll never let it happen. Yeah, I don't think Elon put him up. I mean, I think Twitter helped for sure. Don't get me wrong. But, if Trump ran as VP, that'd be so funny. They let Trump win because they had the goods on Trump. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe. I mean, but I mean, they've had the goods on Trump for, years and years and years. So it's kind of like, why don't they? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe let's put it this way. I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but Trump did a very weird interview on 9/11. Let's just put it that way. Very, very odd interview on 9/11. And it was strange. You're like, that's kind of weird. And as such, I don't know. And he knew Lucky Larry Silverstein, World Trade Center 7 owner. Actually, no. Did Larry Silverstein own World Trade Center 7? I think he did. How that building just decided to kill itself and fall on its own. It just said, I'm just going to fall. World Trade Center 7. And I think Lucky Larry owned that building, but I do know he owned one of the World Trade Centers. Anyway, Trump did a very odd interview after that. And that was kind of strange. Like, it's kind of weird. Being a president just beats you down 100%, man. 100%. make the new. But what about healthcare? The new mega dittos. Oh, that's funny, right on. It would be awesome if Trump ran as VP, but I think it was like 2 years old or something like that. Do Dems new ACA was running out in the next terms? That's why Trump won. Why is Trump building a ballroom they won't even get a chance to use? I don't know. Who knows? Is it really that big of a deal to open up? I mean, really, Obama did it. He did it with more, and he did it with taxpayer money. I don't know. Does it really matter? This whole thing about the White House ballroom is just weird to me. Like, I don't get it's just strange. Obama looks like Fred Sanford. Yeah, but Fred Sanford is awesome. Obama sucks. We all know that. Someone asked me when the 2% inflation target was established. I thought it was around. Yeah, no, what I'm saying, it used to be 3%. Absolutely. And so then because we had so low inflation for so many years, we had 2%. It never was 2% before. This whole thing about 2% is like, when did that come from? It just came around because low inflation, because of exactly right, 100%. All right. Yeah, Fred Sanford's awesome. Lamont. Dude, Sanford's son was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I do think they let him win because they had the goods on it. But, I mean, I don't know. Who knows, man? I'm so over it, to be perfectly honest with you. I just know that at some point, Trump isn't enough. We're going to need a true, how dare I say, a leader along the lines of Franco or Chile and Pinochet. We're going to need something like that. Trump's I love Trump. I love what he's doing. He's a GOAT without questions. 10 times better than Ronald Reagan. But at some point, we're going to need to go further because we are dealing with a judicial tyranny here. Absolutely, especially in Europe. And I posted on my Facebook page that some guy, some freaking African migrant in Sweden, did the big R to a 14-year-old GIRL, and was out after like 5 months or something. I can't remember. It's just so disgusting. And if we don't get, I gotta be careful here. If we don't get someone like a Franco, there's this stuff like that's just not gonna. I mean, dads are not gonna sit idly by and allow this to happen. It's not gonna. I haven't seen Clinton videos. No, I haven't. JD Vance still seems weird to me. I like JD 100%, man. JD freaking. I love the way JD's. I mean, look, JD's paid for it for sure. I mean, no one should be shocked by this, that Republicans are just as bought and paid for as by Democrats. I mean, JD was involved in, I think with Peter Thiel or some Silicon Valley guy or hedge fund guy. I mean, it's no different than Pete Buttigieg. I mean, these guys, they serve their military thing, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, they should be proud of it. But they meet connections. Those connections have money, and next thing you know, you guys can make up your mind. They're political dynamos. Is crazy. Yeah, I tell you, Russia is looking better by the day. I'm not moving there. I mean, I'm going to live and die in the United States, but all these anti-Russians, I'm like, dude, the days of the communist versus capitalism are over. I mean, just think what they're doing in Europe, man. They let another RAP out against another girl. They're just letting people out left and right, because they said it was, this case is a short RAPE, not a long RAPE. So as sad as it wasn't as violent as a normal RAP is. And it's just, the whole thing's freaking insane. Anyway, the point being is at some point, you're just not going to be able to have this. You're just going to have to say it's not communism, i.e. Stalin, versus capitalism, i.e. whatever the hell the United States was, certainly was a capitalist. It's not that anymore. It's just not. And, Europe and the West are slowly becoming worse than our enemies before. I mean, we just are. Everything all right? Okay. Who you talk to? Okay. I mean, so these certainly are our allies, and the United States is not the capitalist beacon that we claim to be, as long as we allow what's going on from Europe to come over here. It's just not. So anyway, I just think Russia, Hungary, maybe Poland, we'll see. I like Poland. But I don't think they have enough people. They're just, Russia's dying. Poland, there's not enough people. I don't know about Hungary. Grape, it's too close. Grape, 100%. Yeah, the communists now the Democratic Party, but they're in America and they're running things, and as such, the idea that Russia is our mortal enemy is just crazy to me. Yeah, exactly. Poland hates Russia, and rightly so, I might add. That's what I'm saying. And Poland is very, they very, let's put it this way, they're very. Whoa, I almost fell over. Very supportive of a small country in the Middle East. Oh, you guys got to make up your mind. All right, so. Did you not just hear what I said? I said, I'm not moving to Russia. I'm not moving to Russia. I'm ride or die with America. That's fact. Yeah, they call them those, the double G's. Double G's. Yeah, 100%. Liberalism, it's sad to see, 100%, man. And they take it. It's crazy to me. And I mean, literally, our only hope is for a guy to come up, a Putin-esque, Franco-esque, or a Pinochet. Now, I like this lady in Japan. She apparently was a drummer in metal bands. That's pretty cool. And she seems to be, zero migration, but this is not good. I don't think she's going to be enough. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I like what they're doing there. But at the end of the day, we're going to need someone to come in here and really just bust heads. We got to clean out the mess because there's a mess. And if we keep falling our way, we're going to be like Europe in 20 years. And then it's over because there's no coming back, man. Once you go down where you're letting grapers free because they did a short grape as opposed to a long grape, your society's crushed. It's a judicial tyranny, and you can't survive that, man. Turning away from the church is what destroyed Europe. Yeah, maybe, man. I don't know. I actually think what it is allowing. I think it's Angela Merkel, Tony Blair. The established parties. You know what I'm saying? They just for some reason they hate their own people. There's no other way around it. All the lefties hate Japan now because the new prime minister leader wants Japan to be Japan. Exactly, 100%. I grew up in the Soviet Union. Nothing good about that country. I mean, but it's not the Soviet Union anymore now, is it? That's the issue. It's not. It's no longer the Soviet Union, right? Because what was part of the Soviet Union? And if you think I'm ignorant about the history of the Soviet Union, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You just don't. But Russia is no longer the Soviet Union. Now, does it have a strong man as a president? Yeah, is he strong enough to do stuff that probably needs to be done here? Yes, that's what we need to be happening here. All right, so let's talk about hopefully the Trump train will be status quo after he's out of office. I'll vote for. I'm definitely voting for Vance. Absolutely, I'm a big fan of Vance. But at the end of the day, I just don't know if it matters. What I mean by that is the establishment is so strong that they control everything, and as such, your vote. I mean, it can't hurt to vote, but is it? At the end of the day, are you going to change things by voting or not? I just don't think so. As the personal jihad that the real Muslims talk about makes sense to me. The personal jihad is really inside you. Then C.S. Lewis talks about this. The Muslims talk about this. Lots of Christians talk about it. The war inside you and, inside your soul. But with that said, we don't want to freaking give away the country to crazies. That's for sure. All right. Yep. What's my favorite investment strategy? 100%. We'll talk about that. Same thing. Well, I just own Russia. I mean, I see videos of people walking down St. Petersburg, not being accosted, not a bunch of druggies on the streets. Now, that could be videos that are lying, but, see a bunch of, let's put it this way. The people in St. Petersburg look very good, very European, if you know what I'm saying, as opposed to walking down the streets of Paris or something like that. And it looked like a nice place. I'm not moving there. I'll never visit there. I like America. I got an American flag tattooed on my arm. I like American customs, and I like where I'm at in the South. But at the end of the day, you see videos of people walking down St. Petersburg. You're saying, that looks pretty good, as opposed to walking down the streets of London or walking down the streets of Paris or walking down the streets of Barcelona, one of those places. And exactly, they know the difference between a man and a woman in Russia. All right, so are Russian women that feminine though? I don't know, man. I think Russian women could kick your ass. All right, so let's talk about it. So I want to talk about my thing here. I'm heavily invested in Wellington and a small portion of my portfolio into a tech fund. walking the streets of Atlanta. You'd never catch me doing that. All right. So one of my favorite things to do, when I used to be a broker or an active wealth manager, I just broke my chair. Jeez, man. Oh, the chair's broken. Anyway, so one of the funnest things to do, you start with X amount of dollars. We'll just say you start with $500,000 in your portfolio. All right. And your portfolio goes up to $550,000. My Schwab guy is getting a 27% return on investment. That's and that will come back around to bite you in the butt at some point. Actually, that's probably, given the market today, I think the market this year is up, 19%. But if you're expecting that, okay, that means he's concentrated in certain areas that will at some point take back the over gains. Remember, if it's heavy on the upside, it's going to be heavy on the downside too. There's just no two ways around that. And people say, okay, well, I'm going to take the upside, my heavy on the upside, and I'm going to get out of it before it's heavy on the downside. No one can do that. Anyway, so let's just say I have $500,000 in a brokerage account or an IRA, I don't care, and it grows by $10,000. All right. So then you say to yourself, hey, what I want to do is I'm going to take it grows by 10% to $50,000 to $550. All right. So what we're going to do here, I love this, man. This is, all right, I'm going to show you something here. Hang tight for just a second. And I'm going to show you, oh man, this is such a great strategy. And this is mostly for, people about to retire, retirees and stuff, not for like youngins. Man, where's the freaking thing? No, that's not what I want. What you right there. We're going to come over here. We're going to come over there. If I can find it right here. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to USAA.com. Hit share screen. All right. And we're going to go to our SPIAs. And we're going to take $50,000. Remember, we started with $500,000. We're up 10% to $550. And we're just going to put it from there. And we're going to put it for lifetime and guaranteed period. And we're going to do it for 20 years. Right there. So basically what we're doing here, amigos, is we're saying, okay, we're going to take the gain off the table and annuitize it to generate guaranteed income that we cannot outlive. So instead of watching the gains either increase gains or be evaporated because of market decline, we're going to force ourselves to take the gains and lock in an income stream we can't outlive. So if we take that $50,000 at USAA, and we got a 20 lifetime in 20 years, which means it will pay. I'm going to just do it on me, not me and my wife, just me for simplicity. It will pay as long as I'm breathing. So if I breathe for 28 years and I die in year 29, the annuity will stop. If I'm alive for 15 years and die in year 15, the annuity will keep going until the 20-year time frame is met. So it will guarantee to pay somebody, be it me or my estate, for 20 years, guaranteed. All right. But if I live beyond 20 years, it'll pay me as long as I'm alive, but it will stop once I'm dead. And so we're going to come down here and we're going to say old Josh is going to receive the income. And we're going to put my date of birth. We'll say Joshy Poo. All right. And we're going to put my date of birth at 01/01/1960. So that put me at 65 years old. I'm a male. I think I'm a male. I live in the state of Georgia's on my mind. We're going to calculate and we're going to see how much it gives us. It gives us 200. Oh, look at that. Basic Medicare Part B and Part D right there. It gives us $277 a month. All right. All right. Look at that. $277 a month. Can't outlive that. All right. So we know for it now, it's not inflated. There's no inflation adjustment or anything like that. But as you can see right here, at this point, right here, right there. So I put 50,000 in. At this point, right there, at year 16, I'll receive more income than I put in. So I put in $50,000. In year 16, I'll be 81. I'll receive $53,000. If I live till I'm 95, that'll be 30 years. I'll receive $100,000 I'll receive $50,000 more than I put in. All right. If I live till I'm 20 years, I'll receive $16,000 more than I put in. So as an annuity, again, it's called mortality credits. The longer I live, my better internal rate of return. That's just a fact. So if I die in year 10, well, my estate is still going to get enough to cover at least some profits. I know for a fact, if I die in year 10, this annuity will still continue to pay for another 10 years to my estate or my heirs, whoever. So I know for a fact my $50,000 will give me $16,000 of profits. That's not debatable. Now, if I keep living beyond that, when I die, then it stops right in here. But I know for a fact they're going to gain $16,000 of profits on my $50,000 investment with no risk other than the solvency of USA. You can say, well, Josh, USA, it's an insurance company. Okay. I mean, the solvency of these insurance companies doesn't concern me in the least. All right. So now what happens? All right. So check this out. I've been to Russia. It's not all that. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go to Russia. I have no desire. I also don't want to go to Los Angeles. I don't want to go to Seattle. I don't want to go to Chicago. I mean, there's a million places I don't want to go to. All right. So anyway, let's keep going. So now what we're going to do is say, okay, now, if he said Joshy Poo, look at Joshy Poo. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make adjustments. And I'm going to say 2 years go by. And now I'm 67. I got another 10%. So my $50,000 I took off the table. And now it has grown another 10% after 2 more years. All right. So now I'm going to go over here. And now I'm 2 years older. And we're going to say my birthday is 1958 to give me the 2 years. 1958. All right. Watch what happens now. So instead of 267, it should pay me a little bit more because I'm older. Yeah, 285. All right. So now it pays me 285 as opposed to 267 because I'm older now. And as you get older, your life expectancy is lower. So USA, any insurance company has less risk to provide you a longer annuity. But it's not a return. Remember that. It's always yeah, right. Harry knows a couple of things about annuities. It's not actually rate of return. Just keep that in mind, firm fans. It's a distribution yield because you're getting your money back plus an interest. So if you actually look at your IRR on this, let me show you here. So if we take $50,000, we put in, we put as our present value, 0 future value. Our payment is what we say, $285 a month. Let me show you, blank, 285 a month is our payment. Make sure I got this right. And let's just say we live for 240 payments. That's 20 years, 240 and compute. Oops. Oh, I say 285 payment. Our IRR in that case is 3.3, internal rate of return. All right. So if we so we know for a fact our annuity is going to give us an IRR, internal rate of return of 3.3. We know that for a fact because we're going to have a 20-year period certain on the annuity. So if I put my $50,000 in, I know for a fact my internal rate of return is no less than 3.3. And that's a fact. Now, if I live 30 years, all right, so now we got the same thing. We're going to do 30 years, 360 payments. My IRR there is 5.5. 5.5. So if I'm 67 years old and I live till I'm 97 years old, not likely, but if I did, my internal rate of return is 5.5. Those are called mortality credits. And what that means is the longer you live, the better your rate of return is going to be. Where did I stop this thing here? 1 second. Stop sharing. And also mortality credits, what that also means too is the people who take the annuity and die early, that money doesn't go to the insurance company. It comes to me. So that's actually the real mortality credit. Mortality credit is you're basically living off the money of the people who took the early annuity and they died early. No different than Social Security. All right? I mean, you pay all that money to Social Security. You die at 63. The the Bank of the United States doesn't get the money. It just goes to the recipients who survived longer. Same thing here. Mortality credits are the longer I live, my money is being paid, kind of like a Ponzi scheme in some regard. My money is being paid by the people who died early. That's mortality credits. With that said, though, mortality credits also provide you a higher IRR the longer you live. Because I just showed you, if you live 30 years, your IRR is 5, internal rate of return is 5.5. If you live 20 years, your internal rate of return is 3.3. If you don't do the period certain, and you die in year 16 or whatever it is, you have no IRR. You just got your money back. And if you factor in inflation, all that stuff, it's a loser. So RMDs into an annuity. Well, I don't get what you. So if your RMD is $5,000, are you saying annuitize that? I got no problem with that at all, none whatsoever. Well, exactly. If you want constant cash flow, it's hard to beat this strategy. Or if you want to take the gains off the table. So let's just say you said, like the guys talked to today, exact same concept. He's like, man, I'm way up. I've doubled my money, my portfolio. I said, take some gains off the table and pay off your debts. The exact same concept. He's instead of receiving income, he's eliminating an outflow. Same thing. The Breakers mansions in Rhode Island are awesome. Never been there. Anyway, so yeah, I got no issue with taking RMDs into annuity. It just that seems a little bit because the one I just showed you, the minimum is $20,000. So if you have a $5,000 RMD, I'm not sure any annuity provider will allow you to do a SPIA for $5,000. That seems a little bit too small. Now, the drawback on the strategy is simple: is that the more you put in one fell swoop, you get a little bit bump in your income. Not much, but a little bit of bump. So if you're like, look, man, I'm at 500,000 today, I could dump 100,000 in 2 years, or 50,000 one time today and 50,000 one time in 2 years. You'll actually get more money if you dump 100,000 in 2 years, most likely, than you will if you do it in two chunks of 50,000 each. It's not enough to not do it, though, in my opinion. And the reason this is important, a lot of people forget how bad 2000, 2001, and 2 were. And they also forget 2007, 8, 9. So many people had money on the table they could have locked in for the rest of their lives, but they didn't do it. They did not do it. They did not take the gains off the table. And the thing is, that's fine if you're still young, dumb, and full of piss and vinegar. But if you're 58 years old and you're about to ready to retire, what are you doing, man? And it's the same thing with Bitcoin. I'm like, man, if you got some Bitcoin, you don't need to sell the whole damn thing, but you sell enough to lock in some gains. Why would you not do that? But it's even with the stock market, the S&P 500. The S&P 500 has been up so much over the last 5 years. In fact, I can't remember what it is now. Let's take a look. We're going to look at finance at Yahoo. Oops. Finance.yahoo.com. We're going to look at VTI. Let's just look at VOO for simplicity. Finance.yahoo.com. Look at Trump killing it. Freaking Canada's like, but Trump, you're hurting our feelings. Trump's like, I don't care. Get the hell out of here, Justin Trudeau. But he's not even prime minister anymore. He's prime minister long enough. You got to pay for what Justin Trudeau did, you clowns. Oh, no, don't tell me that. Okay, right here. So, freaking Justin Trudeau. Can't stand that guy. Oops, hold on a second. Boink. Oh, by the way, I'm going to interview Andrew Biggs on Monday. Why is it doing that? Monday. That probably won't be a live stream, though. I'm just going to interview him because he has some negative thoughts on Social Security that I want to share with you guys. All right, so here's VOO. Dude, look at this. 31, 18, 28, down 18, up. This is insane. And year to date, it's up another 15%. Dude, you're never going to see anything like that ever again. This is insane how much money we've made in the markets since Trump took over. Look at this. 21, down 4, 31, 18. Look at that. But this is Biden. Yeah, well, Biden had a couple of good years, but then Trump came back. He's crushing. Yeah, well, I will say Biden had a good year. Look at that. Biden. Yeah, okay. Biden did have pretty good years. So Trump and Biden just crushed. Look at these rates of return. Anyway, the point being is you're never going to see that again. And so if we go to finance, let's just go to, what's it called? Value investing right there. Let's go to valueinvesting.io. We're going to put, we're going to put $100,000 into VOO, and we're going to do it in 2017. Boink. You're never going to see these kind of numbers again. We're going to start in 2017. And we're going to say, what did this guy do? Boink. Ever. I think the elites are setting the retail a little up for massive rug pulling. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. Oh man, sad. Tell me, who's that? Watching Mississippi State versus who are you watching? Does Missouri did Vanderbilt end up winning? Who's getting jiggy with Katy Perry? Katy Perry is so nasty. There's a guy who did Katy Perry's definitely sold her soul to the devil for rock and roll. That's for sure. When Josh gets his kids up and out, he and Charlotte should take a nice cruise. We're not taking nice. My wife does not want to be on a cruise, and neither do I, Penelope. We're going to come stay at your house, okay? So tell your husband to clear out because we're coming. And my son, dude, I'm telling you, that's attractive. I'm not going to lie to you. I just wonder what you get if you went to the store and sold it. Yeah, for accumulating in equities, I completely. Well, I would say, I completely. I don't think so. I mean, if you look from the last 15 years, I know what you're trying to say. Trying to say you're buying so low, and I completely agree with that. But at the same point, the last 15 years, you could just been dollar cost averaging and made bank. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, commie. You're commie. And I'm just joking you, man. Just joking you. I tell you, you don't even want to know how many books I got on Soviet Union back there. I mean, Sholshanitsky or whatever the hell his name is. I got so many stuff on that. It's not just that guy, not just Ayn Rand. It's just freaking one of my favorites, actually. I probably won't be able to find it because every time I want to show people, I always forget where it's at. But you see, August 1914 right here. You see, we got, oh man, what's that one book I forgot? I'm not gonna be able to find it. And then, of course, my wife's dad spoke Russian. He was a translator. I won't be able to find it, but trapped under. I always do. Every single time I do this, and I always forget where I put the book back. Anyway, I love this book right here, "The Meaning of Treason" by Rebecca West, right there. And then I got my book right here, Political Pilgrims" by Paul Hollander. And right here's a good book, Hitler and Stalin, right there, a great book. Hitler and Stalin are basically butt buddies, man. It was like, I hate Hitler, but I love commies. Like, dude, you freaking idiots. But man, it was called Death by, I can't remember what it was called. Death by something. What the hell was it called, man? And then I got my it wasn't Trapped Under Ice, but my man Victor Herman, who was became a Olympic hero for the commies in 1932, and then they try to kill him. Man, I got tons of stuff on it because I hate communism with a passion. My hatred of communism knows no bound. But then I even got right here, Alan Drury. Come. This changed my life. This book right here. I read that when I was in Honduras in the army. I said, "Holy crap! The communists have told us what they want to do, and what they want to do is take over the world." I got Witness by Whittaker Chambers, right? When he knocked on, not narked, but he told, right here, Generations of Winter, right here. I got so many freaking commie books, in terms of Gulag Archipelago, right there, Archipelago, right there. Yeah, dude, I got so much stuff. Because right here, even got this book right here, the USSR Today. That's for my dad, my wife's dad, USSR Today. We got all kinds of stuff, man. All kinds of stuff. We got stuff even back during the House Un-American Activities Committee that my wife's dad had, and all kinds of stuff, dude. Freaking commies. That's why I can't stand them. That's why we need a guy to come in and destroy these commies once and for all, and not let them back. You know what I'm saying? Because communism is evil. That's all there is to it. It's an evil philosophy that's got to be destroyed. But there's fascism. Well, sometimes it takes a freaking fascist to beat the commies, does it not? Anyway, but you're fascist. People keep saying that. I'm like, well, tell me what fascism is exactly. Hitler. I'm not Hitler. I don't like Hitler. Freaking scumbags. Anyway, got lots of stuff on there. And that's just, I got books upstairs and downstairs and outside and inside, up my butt, out my nose, the whole thing. All right. Anyway, so we see right here, if we go back to this, I'm not calling it a comment, I'm just goofing. We have $100,000 in VOO, and now it's worth $344,000. That's $244,000 of gain. 244. Why would somebody not take some of that off the table and annuitize it? And what I do it in chunks. Every 10, 15%. It was so fun to have these conversations with people. I say, all right, let's right there. I'd call my client, say, look, man, you got gains on the table. You're about to ready to retire, recently retired. We're going to need some money. We're going to need inflation adjusted money. But Josh is not adjusted for inflation. You're wrong. You're wrong. The market gave us gains we did not have. That's your inflation adjustments. Do you not see that, people? Like, you had 500,000. Now you have 550,000. You've made 10%. You've increased your portfolio well above the rate of inflation. Take those gains off the table and annuitize as an income stream that you cannot live. People are like, yes, the income you get isn't adjusted for inflation, but you've beaten inflation, the market gain. And if you do it again and again and again, you are adjusting for inflation if that time comes. Oh, man. My shirts are on. You're shaved, your hair is combed. And I haven't showered today, dude. I took a bath last night. Remember when I used to say, clean behind your ears? Did y'all used to hear that? Penelope probably didn't. I think Penelope, because when she was raised, Penelope was raised where they had bidets or whatever that thing's called, where you take a dump and they wipe your butt with a water, bidet, something like that. Us regular people, Penelope, we had to take like once a week baths and wash behind your ears. Anyway, 10 times or more nice. And investing in a Roth 401k with limited or a brokerage account of better investment. Well, Roth is always the way to go. I mean, unequivocally. If you're limited investment options, it's kind of like people used to say that about the TSP, through a savings plan with the federal government. There's limited investment options. So you got the only thing you need. You got the C fund, you got the S fund, you got the G fund. You don't need anything else. That's all you need. But they also have the F and the I fund, and then the S fund. So you don't need anything else, man. And people are like, but I need to have real estate and blah, blah, blah. I said, nah, you don't. All I look at is Russia compared to European. And I say the Europeans are dead. Russia's looking pretty good to me. Why do I move there? Just because you compliment a country doesn't mean you want to live there. That's crazy. I hate when I hear that. Oh, like America, leave. I've never once said America, love it or leave it. Hell no, because you can hate the government, still love the country, which I do. Even the government run by Trump, I don't like it, but I still love the country and I love the people. I love the what America is. It's not just land. America is a divine intervention set apart by God to lead the world as a beacon of light. Unfortunately, we've gone wrong since World War I. We've gone wrong. Probably even before that with Teddy Roosevelt and stupid Philippine conquest and stuff. I mean, the war of northern aggression. And I'm a Yankee. I get to say that because we know for a fact that the vast majority of the people in the South did not own slaves. They just did not. And they were fighting. They got conscripted. They were fighting not to freaking support the stupid aristocratic landowners, but they were fighting to say if the Northerners came down and they invaded, they're going to repel them. And then next thing you know, they're marching off to Gettysburg and all this stuff. Oh, I got Atlas Shrugged. Yeah, it's not up there on my bookshelf. It's actually my daughter we had a bunch of books downstairs. It's down there. Atlas Shrugged was okay. People are like, oh, Atlas Shrugged changed my life. Nah, dude, I thought Atlas Shrugged was a little bit. I mean, I liked it. It was a little bit over the top. Though. This book right here changed my life. I'm telling you, man, I'll never, ever, ever forget. It's 1991. We're in Sotocano Air Base in Honduras, and we're getting ready to go to an outpost, some remote outpost. And I remember I had like 30 minutes to go to the library and get a book. I was like, man, before we got to Chinook to go to this outpost. And I was like, all right. So I went to the library and I was looking at books and I said, all right, well, this one, I just literally picked it by the cover because you're sitting on the outpost. All you're doing is pull security. I mean, that's all you're doing is you're bored. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to read some. So I grabbed this book as a cover. I said, all right, that looks pretty good. I didn't know anything about Alan Drury. Didn't know anything about it. In his most terrifying political novel ever, Alan Drury sketches a future for America that's both frighteningly cataclysmic, and disturbingly logical. Basically, with essentially a guy became president who was, instead of standing up to the communist tyrants, basically allow the communist tyrants to essentially to win. And next thing you know, you got Russian, U.S., Soviet Union flags and American flags waving in D.C. and the commies were coming in. Dude, it's crazy, man. And I'll never get that. I was like, what the hell? And because I was a lefty. People don't understand. We used to have Angela Davis and Gus Hall buttons. My parents had buttons. My parents had literature. And my parents had freaking bumper stickers. And maybe bumper stickers, but I don't think we had bumper stickers because we have a car. We were commies. I was raised a commie, essentially. You see what I'm saying? And I did not like America. I rooted for the Soviet Union in the 1980 hockey thing. You know what I'm saying? So I was a lefty. And I had, because that's what I was raised by. You said, I was raised by lefties. I'm just a far lefty, you know what I'm saying? Without question. And I read this book and I said, wait a second. Is that true what the communists were trying to do? And then I said, I'm going to start reading about more. And next thing I know, I said, yeah, they don't want nationalism, populism. They want the Communist International, Comintern. But they want world domination, a communist one world government. And I don't know how any lefty, a populist, or even just like a liberal could say, we want a one world government, communist or not. No. And no right-wing person should say, we don't want a one world government. We want a nationalist, populist government. That's for sure. Anyway, I read that. It's like, dude, this is crazy. This can't be true. And I started and I said, damn, communists are bad. And that's why I fell into liking Pat Buchanan, because Pat Buchanan was the true American first. And then I realized, unfortunately, I started studying economics at George Mason, the libertarian stuff. And I said, oh, man, that's where I became a libertarian for a little bit. I still like Buchanan. I was like a Buchananite libertarian. You know what I'm saying? I was like, libertarians just don't like America. That's a problem. They don't like the military. They don't like America. They just want to smoke dope, have abortion, and don't pay any capital gain tax. Libertarians, that's all they want to do. Smoke dope, abortions, and no capital gain tax. I said, I'm not like that. I'm still Catholic. I'm still religious. You know what I'm saying? I love America. I like our military. We shouldn't be engaging in foreign wars, but hell's bells, we should be freaking, proud of America. And I found libertarians were not. And then, unfortunately, I fell for the George Bush 9/11 crap. And I was like, hindsight. I was like Tucker Carlson. In hindsight, I'm like embarrassed how, anyway. Yeah, it's crazy. I remember I almost banned Pulverizer. I might probably said this a million times. Read the Hot Zone. It'll wake you up. You guys send me an email on that. I won't remember. Yeah, I voted for Harry Brown in 1996 myself, brother. I voted for Pat Buchanan. I voted for Perot. I voted for Harry Brown in 1996. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's 100%. You would have been. Email me that Hot Zone, Ted. Touchdown, Teddy. Libertarian and never smoked dope. Oh, you're high right now. Hot Zone is about Ebola. Ayn Rand and Rand Paul do have some valid points, but the philosophy, no, 100%, dude. Absolutely. Ron Paul, his whole thing is the Fed, and the Fed is our friend. Would Joshua demand to see your manager? Right on. I think, I don't disagree with that. I absolutely, and Trump, same way. I mean, Trump has screwed a lot of, that's the issue. Trump has screwed a lot of working people. I can completely agree with that. All these politicians suck. That's the issue. You're never going to be led by a righteous guy. It's not going to happen. She didn't, obviously, Ayn Rand didn't believe in God. Objectivism is stupid. No other way around that. Rand Paul don't follow. I mean, I like Rand Paul. Don't get me wrong. Ron, I'm talking about those, and the whole thing. The Fed is the bad. Just the Fed's not the bad thing. I had a Harry Brown T-shirt, Harry Brown for President T-shirt. I did. Did I read Find Freedom in an Unfree Society? I can't remember if I read that, but I did like his butterfly portfolio. What the hell was that? 25, 25, 25, 25. I kind of like that, but I forgot what it's called. 25. My wife is on her way to India to work. Ooh, that sounds like hell on earth, man. My country, right or wrong? Yeah, 100%. So you got God, family, country. I'm not sure, but worried about a downturn. Turn 65. I'll talk to Josh next year. My TSP is doing 19%. Yeah, that's what the markets are doing. But again, those days are not going to keep happening. I mean, it's just not. So again, if I'm like going back, let's just say I'm up 19% and I'm Marie getting ready to turn 65 and I want to turn some money. I forgot where she was. Bidet. I only hear that to wash your butt. No, that's what I'm saying. But you have to be rich to have a bidet. And Penelope, she's living in the land of milk and honey, while us, dirty Republicans are freaking, burning our crap because she had a bidet. We had to put an outhouse. No, dude, I dude, 100%. It's like I just can't. We don't want to crash, but we also like to see some cleaning. Is 19% frothy? Of course, especially if what we just had for the last 5 years. 100% permanent portfolio. That's what it was. That's what permanent portfolio. 100%. I completely agree. Impossible to run a large corporation, never screw anyone over. Business world is done. Well, I completely agree with that. Yeah. 100%. Ones you have in White House, you are you good. We have terms for politics constantly, otherwise no better than Russia. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Use wet wipes, for heaven's sake. F the bidet. I want a bidet or bidet. Bidet. I think that's how it's called. Buffett is cash heavy, dude. But he's been cash heavy for a long time. That's the interesting thing. People have been saying this for a long time. Exactly, right here. Look, this is the Asian guy talking. No one knows money better than the Asians except Jews. And so if this guy's talking, we know this is true. Except he's been doing that for years now, so even Buffett can't time 100%. We got Baby Philly Fox podcast. Hey, okay. Sounds kind of strange to me. Anyway, so I just think, look, I'm not saying you go out there and start freaking taking gains. I'm not doing it. Bidet is 57 flavors. No, it's not. The bidets are. Have you read Checkpoint Capitalism by Dr. Rowe? No, I have not. I get too many books to read. Right now, I'm reading John Updike, something about Frederick, where he's able to. What's it called? I can't remember. I like John Updike. I like some of that literature stuff, and it's a book about kind of how God exists. It's fantastic. Yeah, don't flush your wife's pulverizer. Well, pulverizer is like Muslim. He doesn't. He wipes his butt with his left hand, and then he throws it into the trash can. I like CDs, man. I'm a big fan. Yeah, that's right. Pulverizer. I was going to ban not that long ago because he's talking smack on Israel. So people change, amigos. People change. I like CDs. Honestly, I think we were talking to people today or yesterday. Maybe it was yesterday. And should they do CDs or cash in a money market? So the problem is right now I couldn't find any good CDs. At least Penn Fed Credit Union, Navy Federal Credit Union, USA. There aren't any good CDs out there. I'm sure there are some at some bank, but you're getting 4.25 or something like that. The federal money market at Vanguard. It's just hard to overlook that for sure. Let's see, bonds better than the CDs. I'm hard to say, but. Read War and Peace. It looks like hell on earth, Harry. Is it worth? I mean, literally, it's one of those books. If I pick up and it looks so long, it better be good, man. I stopped reading this book by a guy I love who writes about Maine, and it was too long. I said, this is getting too long. I just stopped reading it. So I have no clue how it ended. And that's the first one I ever not read start to finish. I feel bad because I wasted all that time because I love to read. I read all the time. And I don't like books that kind of just like that take too long. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like Stephen King. Stephen King's a good story, right? Not so much anymore, but in the old days, 90s, 80s, he used to write good books that had, entertained you. Now it's just too stupid, too woke stuff. I'm like, oh God, Stephen King. Why? It's just come on. Which is weird because he's always been a lib, but he incorporates some politics, but not badly. And now his last couple of years of writing, it's embarrassing. It's like, this is just like, it's just, it's like infantile stuff. It's like, it's sad. It's sad to see that guy, a legend in writing go away because it's just stupid. But anyway, so if I'm going to read a long ass book, I don't want to commit to it if it's going to suck because that's an opportunity cost. I could be reading someone else. But by the way, I will tell you who the best author you'll ever read, and you'll get a change of heart about your old boy, Benedict Arnold. This guy right here, Kenneth Roberts from Maine. Historical fiction. Dude, there's no, my mom told me about him. There's no better, this run right here. Kenneth Roberts, a freaking legend. Kind of a racist guy. He was kind of what a Margaret Sanger racist back in the old days. Believed in genetics, believed in the superiority of the Teutonics or whatever. But everyone did back then. So some people hate on, especially people in Maine, because it's so liberal, they hate on Kenneth Roberts because he's like a Margaret Sanger, yet they still love Margaret Sanger. Here's an old book. And I love Kenneth Roberts because it's just his historical fiction. But he talks about like the Benedict Arnold's march to Quebec, about what the people had to go through, not just Benedict Arnold, but in York, not New York, and Saratoga. And he says how basically the U.S. sold the Congress, sold them out. Fantastic. I love it, man. I'm not a big fan of short stories. I read the first book of the Dark Tower when I was like high school or something like that. But am I ever going back to Peaks Island? Yeah. Hey, dude, that's no kidding. Report last month where the store shut down on Congress Street. Do you remember? Because I heard that. I heard like a lot of stores, the storefronts are shut down. So many people laying around. That's crazy. Yeah, dude. Should we be hearing about the 2026 IRMA limits in the near future, or could the shutdown delay that? Well, one, they're going to get the taxes. I mean, so remember, IRMA is adjusted for taxation, and so once we get the new tax forms, the IRMA will come out then as well. So that would come out when they usually put the new tax forms out, the end of December or something like that. I can't remember. It was already out. Read Reese Howell's Intercessor, Christian with mind-blowing stories. Yeah, I don't like short stories that much. What do I think about regarding high 401k fees and the hidden fees in many 491 plans? And they are fiduciary. Well, I don't know if any 401k plan would not be a fiduciary, and they're falling under ERISA. All right, so that doesn't bother me. I mean, there's no 401k plans that's telling you to invest in X over Y. I mean, that's not like there is no 401k plan who's sitting there saying you should do this, especially employer sponsored plan that falls under ERISA. I don't think 401ks have high fees. I this whole thing about people saying 401ks have scams, hidden fees, and all this stuff, I just find that silly. It's stupid. The 401k fees are not high. They're just not. Do people not know the liability of these corporations if the 401k plan had significantly higher fees than just a regular investment? Do people not know what would happen to the provider of that 401k? How they'd be sued out of oblivion? Come on, people. That's stupid. I see these videos on YouTube all the time. The hidden fees in the 401ks. The 401ks are a scam. The fees are going to eat your investment returns. It's like the stupidest thing ever, man. So whoever's feeding that doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. I mean, are there some small plans? Like I used to have a couple 401ks for dentists. I used to be the 401k provider for a couple small dental firms, 20, 30 people each. I had them through American Funds. I think we did Class A shares at NAV with a 50% trail. So basically, you basically got Class A shares out paying a front end commission. I think the fees on that were 0.6. I got a 50% trail, something like that. So I think the fees all in are like 90 basis points for a small 401k plan with 20 or 30 participants. That's not bad, man. That's not bad at all. This is back in the 2000s, early to mid 2000s. And I had to provide all the employee education, all that stuff as well. And it was a good bit for me because, that the highly compensated people, the dentists, for instance, I got to work. They were my clients, and then I get to work as with some of the dental hygienists. Some of my best clients were dental hygienists. But then you'd also help out the lowly, the people just on the front desk and stuff like that. They never had any money to put in, but you'd help out. But it's time consuming, and you got to get paid for that. And so even with my fees and everything through American Funds, this back in 2005, I think it was all in 65, 70 basis points, 90 at most, depending on what investments. It's not bad for a small provider, for sure, on a 401k. It also had a safe harbor contribution. Safe harbor meant it couldn't. So it's been a long time since I did this, but highly compensated people could not be too heavy on the contributions. So to avoid that, they'd have to give everybody a 3% immediate safe harbor, which I think was invested immediately or something like that. So what happened is you get some of these plans that are top heavy, which meant highly compensated people had too much money going to the 401k. And it's considered discriminatory. It wasn't discriminatory the way we think about it, but it's discriminatory in favor of the highly compensated employees. So the risk said you can't do that unless you're going to offer a safe harbor. Safe harbor simply said, as long as you give everybody a 3% match, whatever it was, I can't remember if it had to be vested within right away. Maybe it didn't. But anyway, as long as everyone got 3%, they didn't have to contribute, then highly compensated people could have more money and be top heavy. And that's what we did. We did a safe harbor 401k plan with profit sharing as well. So the dentist could then dump in a whole bunch of money with profit sharing, which was a huge way to build up 401k plans. I think I had one that even offered a defined benefit plan, but I didn't do that long enough. It was a pretty good solution for the dentist, highly compensated dentists, where they could do a defined contribution and a defined benefit plan all in one plan. And that was a pretty significant. I mean, they could sock away freaking tons of money, but I can't remember. I think that's when that happened. I think I'd already just was getting ready to move to Texas and start a new job. But yeah, I hear this all the time. 401k plans are scams. They're too high fees. All this stuff might be the stupidest thing ever, man. Stupidest thing ever. Because I mean, there's so many lawsuits against 401k providers charging too much. It's just dumb. So I stopped listening to these people who say that stuff, man. And who cares about a fiduciary anyway? The whole thing, I'm a fiduciary. I would sit there and say, okay, so all these fiduciaries, all that in a bag of chips, when I'd much rather have an Edward Jones front end commission. If my wife was talking to two people, all things being equal, one's going to charge her $5. What, you cooking something? William, what's that? Smells like bacon. So if I had, my wife has $100,000, she has two options. Do it a fiduciary with 1% asset under management fee a year, or a 5.5% front end loaded with Ed Jones and a 25 basis point fee thereafter, in terms of what's called a trail. I'll take the Ed Jones guys every single time, because the AUM fee is charging 1% on theoretically a growing product each and every year. All right, so he's charging you $1,000, $1,200, $1,600, $1,800. The 5.5% charges $5,500 in the first thing, and then it's 25 basis points thereafter. The fiduciary, I never understood how that can fall under the fiduciary rules when you're charging more than a broker is, who's charging a front end commission. Now, if the broker is churning you, saying, okay, that fund sucks, now go to this fund instead, which happens a lot with annuities, by the way, which pisses me off. If your broker is churning you, that's bad. Then the compliance guy, what do they call it? They call it something in brokerage, I can't remember anymore. But the compliance guy needs to nip that in the bud. If he doesn't nip in the bud, then clients have a suit against the guy for being churned. The drawback with these fiduciaries, sometimes they can be what's called reverse churning, where they're getting this 1% fee and they're not doing anything. Now, and that's a challenge, because not doing anything is usually the best way to go. But if they're sitting back there drinking margaritas on the beach, allowing this 1% fee to roll in and not even checking in on their customer, at least on a semi-annual, if not annual basis, that's reverse churning. They're getting paid for literally just putting you in an investment product that's churning out a 1% fee every year. And again, it's impossible to pay 1% and beat the market. You can't do it. You just can't. It's impossible to run a society on solar and wind electricity. It's just impossible. You can't do it. These things are impossibilities. Are there some people, homes with rooftop solar and battery banks, who can do it for their own house? Yes, unequivocally. Are there some investments who can beat the market? Yes, unequivocally. The question is, on investment, you don't know who those people are going to be, because it changes all the time. You have no idea. And on the whole, the average investor the average money manager, the vast majority of money managers, loses to the index. Well, this isn't debatable. And as such, you're betting against the odds by hiring a money manager. So this whole thing, I'm a fiduciary. Well, if you're charged that 1% asset under management fee, inherently you're going to lose the index. That's just no two ways around that. So how do you call yourself a fiduciary as if you're better than a freaking front end commission guy who just got paid a one-time commission? One of my pet peeves. 1% fee for not doing anything wrong. 100%. I was always spoiled by our index funds outside 401ks, thanks to Jack Bogle. 100%. Are there fiduciaries that would recommend flexible premium deferred annuities as an investment? That's a great question, Jerry. I mean, because if the fiduciary isn't able to manage the product, I mean, is the fiduciary going to recommend that you sell your gains to put into annuity like I'm talking about? Sell your gains to pay off your house? That's a challenge, isn't it? That's a challenge because they're losing assets under management, which is how they make their money. And on top of that, fiduciary, a lot of times you can't. This wouldn't be called selling away, but you can't give advice on products that you don't manage anyway. And a lot of these annuities, it might be different now, but there is no model for fiduciaries on annuities anyway. I think there's a couple companies that allow that, but I'm not quite sure that's they're up to the big leagues yet. We found out my wife's part of the Pentagra 401k class 5 years after she's rolled her 401k over. Yeah, so they're suing them for fees, I'm sure. Yeah. My lifestyle, wife retires in a year and a half, debt-free, 95% taxable. Oh, man, that's what I'm talking about. 95% in taxable accounts. What should you do? I'm retired. I don't know, man. You should give me some money is what you should do. I don't know. I would be partying like it's 1999, that's for sure. I still like my buckets, my bucket strategy, stocks and cash. That's a great place to be. Look at that. 95, no debt, almost everything in a brokerage account. Basically no taxes. That's fantastic. All right. Yeah. So I had high fees in my 401k, total fees over 1.5 plus administrative fees. Yeah. Then I can guarantee you're going to have a potential lawsuit right there for sure. But I mean, to sit there and say, man, the boss is looking old. That's depressing. Yeah, but I mean, to sit there though and say, I'm not saying you did this, whatever the other guy's name is, indict the entirety of the 401k market because there is an example is stupid. Because we had plenty of examples of index funds even charging high fees. And you're like, what? I thought index funds were low fees. They don't have to be. Plenty of examples of that. Plenty of examples of fiduciaries charging high fees. What? Exactly. So the issue is, yes, there are there some freaking crappy 401ks out there? Unequivocally. I can almost guarantee you, though, that most of those are going to be small providers, small businesses. And as such, that's what they got to pay to get service. Now, at this day and age, you can go to Fidelity, you can go to Schwab and set one up, a 401k with minimal fees relative to a bigger account. But, some people don't want to go to Schwab. They want to have a person to come into their office like what I used to do. And that guy's got to get paid. Anyway, the point being is, this doesn't invalidate my issue that the vast majority of 401ks are going to be cheaper than most retail investors. I'm on the Epstein list and president of the United States. What should I do? What I'd say you should do is end immigration right now. End it all. Say, hey, gotta love the buckets 100%. Do AUM guys do all areas of finances, including in the fee, like tax planning, insurance, when to take Social Security? I can't speak to that. I think a lot of AUM guys will do a lot of that stuff for sure. And they have models about Social Security, which can be helpful. But most models on Social Security say it's always best to defer to 70. And I don't like that. In fact, my man Devin Carroll and I talked about this a couple of years ago. He goes, as in Right Capital, it always says the most optimal time, we talked when I was on a walk, is to defer Social Security to your 70. I said, yeah, I did notice that. Tax planning, insurance. I'm not so sure about the insurance side. The best thing I had going for me is I worked at USAA, which is a property and casualty insurance company. And so I was able to learn insurance pretty heavily through USA. So I know enough about it to bring it up to conversation. I don't sell it or anything like that. I'm not sure a lot of investment guys know anything about insurance. Certainly not. I'm not just life insurance. I'm just property and casualty, umbrella insurance, that kind of stuff. It's basic estate planning. I bet a lot of them don't know that either, frankly. Because they're paid to manage investments, even if they call themselves financial planners. That's a problem in our industry. How do you know? Well, guys, a CFP, that doesn't mean squat, man. Just because you have a CFP doesn't mean you're knowledgeable in this stuff. Hell, I had a CFP. I had 10 years in the business. When I went to USA to work, I could not believe how much I did not know. I was stunned. I cut my teeth at Vanguard. I worked at Schwab. I worked in a bank. So I had some other knowledge outside of just basic financial, because I worked in a bank, which was very, very helpful to me. Understanding home equity lines of credits, certificates deposits, demand deposit accounts, all that stuff. It was a great experience for me, for sure. Helped me a lot. But when I went to USAA, I was like, holy crap. I did not know a lot. It was embarrassing. I'll never forget that. I was like, I can't hold a freaking candle to these guys, man. It's crazy. Anyway, it was my man, 999, right on. All right, I got some money here. Let's read the money. What are the best qualified dividends investments, y'all? Man, I got no idea. You're going to take your money back. I don't have any idea. The best. Don't ever ask me a question, the best, because I don't know. Dodgers 1-0, bomb the 10th, bomb the first. Okay, gotcha. That 1-0 bomb the. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Our broker, I hate to say absolutely. Our brokerage account is better. I can't say better, but I would, if I'm making less than $12,000, I have my opportunity to defer my money in taxes, or I'm taking a brokerage account 100 times out of 100, unequivocally. Not even debatable to me, without question. Rolled over my 401k and never looked back. You know what I'm saying? My mama tried at 75, and many of my kid died in the 60s. Mama tried. Can always buy a SPIA augment income. What I'm saying. Our AUM guy actually wants to take it at 62, but we don't want the income before we take Medicare. It causes our ACA to go through the roof. Now, Morningstar is working that SP not diversified enough because tech stocks are driving all the growth. Yeah, I mean, but we've had this many times in the past. I mean, literally, if we just I've done videos on this, in terms of the top 5, 6, 7 stocks, how much they represent of the S&P 500. I mean, it happens, which is why the S&P 500 is more volatile, because sometimes those top 5 or 6 companies take it on the chin, S&P 500 loses. So the alternative would be to go to an equal weighted index. But the evidence of the equal weighted index isn't, it was great in 2000. That's it. And the odds is great. Equal weighted index beat the S&P 500, not equivocally. That's it. There's no other evidence about the equal weighted index beating the S&P 500. Sometimes you just got to take the risk. You got to take the ups and downs. And, there's just no better investment than the S&P 500. Well, I would argue VTI, which is the total stock index, not just the S&P 500, but has small and mid-sized companies in there. That's what I own. But yeah, I mean, you just got to run with it, man. It's all right. The point being is, investing is a trend and momentum thing. So things that have gone up tend to go up. Things that have gone down tend to go down. Not all the time. And sometimes there's a bell that get rung and they change sides. But, the issue about an equal weighted index is you're forcing yourself to sell your winners to put in the losers. And we know investing 101 is you cut your losses and you ride your winners. That's just what you got to do. That's what the S&P 500 does. It cuts its losers and rises winners inherently with 4 basis points cost. That's why, yes, it is more volatile. But volatility goes both ways, the upside and downside. So I hear this stuff all the time, like, this isn't new. I've been talking about this for years. And yet here we are, S&P 500 can't beat it. All right, my friends, I'm going to get out of here. 201 telecom bubble. Not even close, dude. Come on. You think we're at a bubble like, okay. We're not in a bubble like by China. It's going to be huge. Come on, man. You think we're actually in the bubble a la 2000? Really? Come on, man. Cheese, Louise, and blue cheese. I sit there. I'm like, do people actually? 100%, Ted. 100%. People need to stop thinking 1 year to think 20 years. But, I mean, if you're getting ready to retire, I get it. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, that's why you do the barbell. You got enough cash to cover you for 3 to 4 years, and you got rest in stocks, man. Just stop the pessimism. It's crazy to me. And it's not because we got Trump in office. I mean, no, it's because at the end of the day, Europe is dying, China is dying, Japan is dying, Korea is dying. All of our economic competitors are dying. Pop demographics, China's communist, fascist communistic, without question. Who knows what was going on in Korea? Japan, I mean, God bless them, but they're a low growth, low inflation society. Nothing new's coming out of Japan. We're still the only game in town. I mean, Europe's dead. There's no other way around that. It's a dying society in terms of demographics. Canada's dying demographics. There's no competitor. India, I mean, come on, India, they still throw crap at each other to celebrate Diwali. I mean, this is a fact. God bless them. I don't want to do that. No, it's not. So who's going to compete with a good old US of A? Nobody is. We're still the only game in town. We still got an economic engine. Yeah, it's slowing down. Demographics are still better than almost every other major country out there. Not great, but better. And we still got America, and we got a young generation, not the millennials, but the people that younger than them who are going to come and crush. With immigration, yeah, 100%. You take away immigration, and Canada's falling apart. Yep. Anyway, so I sit there, I'm thinking, all these countries are going to outperform. Like Germany? You kidding me? If you're a heavy industry manufacturing dynamo, you need electricity. Anyway, if retiring, you should have balance. 100%. You should have balance. You should say, I'm going to put some money in cash that cover me for a downfall, 3 to 4 years, the rest in stocks. That's what I'd say. I disagree. I don't know what the generation under 30 is. I think I got a lot of hope for the future, man. 100%. All right. I get out of here. God bless. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you guys. Peace in the hood. Peace out.